what's up, good peoples? What's going on? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? What's going on? Welcome to episode 30, y'all. I cannot believe we are in episode 30. Um, but I have to thank you all for coming in on every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. As you guys know, I do not do this alone. So let me introduce my amazing cast to you. Panel, I mean. First, I want to add the first lady of the show, Shay. Let's welcome Shay.
Hey, I was getting ready to say we on the cast now. We're moving on up. Okay.
Next, we got the man with the plan. This is Q in the house. What's up, Q?
Yo, what up, everybody?
Thank you. How you doing?
How was everybody's week?
Well, mine's just busy. I'm so ready for it to be over.
I'm ready to get back up north.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. What's up? So listen, I want to first apologize to everybody, the viewers, that we kind of got sidetracked at time, had some technical difficulties on my end, so I apologize for that. Also, before we go into today's content, I just want to let you guys know that the views and perspective expressed within today's live is our own personal thoughts and opinions. So I don't need no messages saying that you was wrong or anything factual or statistical that we use. We reference that before we say something. But so just know that these is our personal views and perspectives, and we appreciate you guys joining. Before we jump into today's topic, I like to add open up the show with an icebreaker.
Oh Lord.
So my question is, when you don't want to give somebody your name, what is your go-to alias name?
Okay, that's cool.
All right, we're gonna start with you, Shay. What's your go-to alias name and why?
Ginger.
That sounds like Wait, is that your go-to alias name or stage name?
That's my stage name. No, I like Ginger. I don't know. I think Ginger is a pretty color.
Okay.
And I associate it with the complexion of me. So that's why I say Ginger.
Okay. All right. What about you, Q?
I'm giving my middle name. So therefore, if you try to Facebook or anything, you ain't going to find me.
What's your middle name?
Armand.
Okay. So that's your go-to. So anybody asks you, like, what's your name, you give them your Armand.
If it's like something that I'm like, this ain't about to go nowhere, I'm giving you my middle name.
Okay.
Till I fill you out, I'm like, oh yeah, my name Q.
Okay. My go-to, I got a few, but my main go-to is Mike.
Oh God! You look nowhere near Mike.
Listen, you know how many people I'll be in a grocery store, they be right by me like Mike, and I just be shopping and not knowing I gave this out. And I'm like, oh hey, I'm sorry, I'm in my mind. So yeah. So listen, if you give out an alias, make sure you can remember to answer to it. If somebody say Mike, and you're like, oh hey. So yeah, so make sure you give out your alias.
That's
make sure
funny.
you can remember the alias that you gave out. So today's topic is the dynamic of the Black family, and we're gonna talk about different. We're gonna kind of go into this like many various ways because we can. I mean, there's so many dynamic to Black families. So we're gonna expound on many different things. But I first want to open up the show because it's the dynamic, and biblically they say the head of the house is the man. Do you guys still believe that the man is the head of the household? We're gonna start with you, Q. What's your perspective on the man still being the lead? Because I know Shay got some opinions being a woman. She
ready.
She is ready. She rocking.
I'm gonna be as nice as possible.
Okay.
Let Shay go first.
No. You go first.
Go ahead and go. Take it away, Q. What's your perspective? She ain't gonna cuss you out, man.
Biblically, yes. But
Dave said yes.
I feel like biblically, yes. We're still household. Now, do I feel like we took on the responsibility like we're supposed to? No.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can respect that. Shay, what's your perspective?
And what's the question again?
Is the man still the lead of the household?
I don't think it's fair to say automatically that a man is still the lead of a household, because at the end of the day, it's more than just you having a penis that makes you the lead of a household. I think ultimately, a person who leads the household is a person who is capable of making the best decisions that not only fits him or her, but suits the family as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just you a man, so bam, you the head of the household. Because to lead, you have to be able to lead. And God gives us wisdom. So if we want to go biblically, if you just want to say automatically, if a man is in a house, he should lead, then that's on you. And if a woman's dumb enough to let somebody lead her that don't know how to lead, then shame on her. But I'm not going to follow nobody, whether it's a man or a woman, if they're not capable of making the best decisions that suits and helps and benefits the entire family and makes us a better family as a whole. So that's, to me, what makes a person a leader.
All right, let's go to the comments. Dave said, regardless the functional status, I guess financial status, if the man is leading properly, he should be the head of the household.
Again, I never said, I don't think the man should automatically be listed as the head of the household. I ain't even talking about finances, because I feel a person can be financially, like I could be married to a man who doesn't make as much as me, but he can still be the head of my house because he could lead with wisdom. He could guide me down the right path. He could give me words of encouragement. He could give me a way to do things that I may not know how to do, or I may not be educated enough to do. Mm-hmm. I get all of that. But when you have a man in your house that doesn't know how to make the best decisions, regardless, he can make more than you and still not be able to lead a house. It's more to leading a house than just being a man. Way more.
I think it also comes with the responsibility aspect of it. Like something my father, it's a relationship, I guess. Okay. Something my father said, and he put it clear as day. He said, I provided the house. Your mother provided the home. I provide the food. Your mother provided the meal. I provided the seed. Your mother provided me my children. So I think it's a working relationship, but I also feel, like you said, too, that if I can't trust you in other arenas, or if I can't trust you in finances, or if I can't trust you to be a leader, then I shouldn't be with you, because at this point I'm questioning my household.
Yep.
So if I lead, you can't lead me nowhere.
Yes. And that's my only thing. I do think ultimately, like, I think the reason, I can't say why I didn't never really like guys, but I think the biggest turnoff to me with men was we always had to feel like we was less than them as a woman, and that we had to listen to everything they said, and we had to agree with whatever they said. So that automatically turned me off to men, and I never wanted to be with them because I didn't want to feel like I was a prisoner. Kevin, turn your fan down. We can hear that now. I don't know what you did with it.
Okay.
But yeah.
So do you have something to do with the roles?
Huh?
Do you think?
I think because
I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
I said, you think it has something to do with the roles as far as dominant and submissive?
Not really, because see, I'm submissive to my girlfriend and I let her lead. But I think it was the fact that in general, we grew up having to believe that men was up here and then we was down here. And I just didn't like that feeling. I didn't. So I never was attracted to men, just because I don't want to feel like you finna boss me around. No, not happening.
And I think nowadays, women have. Can you hear my fan? Is everything good? You can still hear it. I'm sorry, y'all.
Going on over there?
Can y'all still hear it?
No.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think because back in the day, women couldn't. I'm not gonna say they couldn't. I'm gonna say they couldn't go out and get another a job or have a career for themselves, because I think a lot of different reasons. I mean, one, the man wanted them at home, and I think it was also two, it was control, it was power, because they knew that women, that's how women depended on them. I mean, a lot of women back in the day took a lot of stuff from men. You know why? Because they didn't have no choice. They didn't have a house to go to. They didn't have that pick up and go. So guess what? Regardless of how this man is treating you, you gotta deal with it, because guess what? This is your provider. This is your source. This is where, and I think in this new age, women has came as is winning. Fellas, we need to do better. Women are winning. I personally know more successful women than I do men. So I don't think there's no longer if the man a household. Yes, he's a man and he should lead. He should be the protector. But I'm not saying that he should actually just be the leader. It's a difference between being a protector and a leader. Yes, he should be the protector for sure. But a leader, I'm not going to say that. What's up, sis? She said it's unfortunate that so many men are not in the right headspace or position to lead the household. I have yet to find a man that I can trust with that. So these comments says, be patient.
Because I think back then, like around our grandparents' era, our great grandparents' era, the man took on responsibility. So having 7, 8 kids was nothing to them, because guess what? They knew that daddy was coming home. They knew that daddy was going to provide the meal. They knew, and moms at that point was able to be at home moms and make sure that there were food. And I think like back in the day, women made sure their husbands ate before their kids ate, make sure there were different dynamics back
That's
then.
a whole nother story. It's crazy to me, and I don't know. Like, the crazy part is my mom and dad was married. My mom did not feed my dad before she fed us, but he wouldn't even allow it. And my dad was 25 years older than my mom. So it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, he was like, yeah, feed me. I just didn't understand that. And I saw not a great relationship, but it was I was a daddy's girl. So my dad was a really good father to his kids. I just never wanted to feel like I had to be, I don't know. It just turned me off. It so turned me off. And then I heard so many stories about so many women who were undereducated, who had 100 kids, and had to deal with cheating husbands. And they said, well, you know what? The reason behind me staying was he took care of the home and he provided. But he provided financially. Everything else was not there. It was no respect there. Like, how? If you out sleeping with Shirley Ann down the street. So I don't know. It made me feel some type of way.
I kind of agree. It almost kind of revert to back when we were growing up with my grandparents. And I hope none of my, family watching this get upset. But, we speak the truth over here. But I can remember my grandfather was a phenomenal leader and provider. My grandmother, we had everything. He worked and stuff. But just because he was, my grandmother, like you said, the man, what you say, the woman make the house, the man make the home, or something like that. My grandmother did everything. My grandmother made 3 meals a day. For I don't know how many years, breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the same time. But was my grandfather the most upstanding man? No. There was infidelity that was there. It was the lack of respect, like Sharon said, all of that. And my grandmother was an amazing woman, a very virtuous woman. But because I think when people know that you need them, they can treat you that way.
And I think it's different now, because I think back then it was more so like, hey, this is my husband, I'm going to respect my husband.
And it was molded that way. I think this new school,
And these days, and I appreciate the women these days, because one, they're very outspoken.
Yes.
But if you don't provide, I'm gonna make sure that I'm a mother first, make sure my kids provide, and I don't need, some women, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna make sure my kids, I never forget my dad didn't want my mom to work. My dad was like, yo, I got it. And my mom was like, my mom said, I went to school for nursing. So guess what? And she was like, no. So when they got, and I didn't understand it till they got divorced. And my mom was like, See, that's what I mean. You never let no one put you in a position so you make you feel like you need them. So my mom, being a strong Black woman, was like, all right, when they got divorced, my mom made sure that made sure that me and my siblings had. And like and I see so many strong women who stepped out of a situation with a man and they became so much better because it's do bad all by itself.
For sure.
So
yeah, I have to agree with you. I think the difference between the women, the new school women versus the old school women that have nothing to stand on, not even a voice, but these new school women, they getting educated, they working, they grinding, they working, if not as hard as a man, so there's no longer, oh, I need my dinner cooked at a certain time. No, shit, I'm working like you might have to pick up Popeyes tonight. It's just Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it's just a totally different dynamic from the women of yesteryear to the women today. And I really take my hat off to women that can still go to work, hold down the family, cook, and don't miss a beat. Some women you have like that. Some women don't miss a beat. Some women still, even though they husbands are making $50,000 less than them, they still know how to be submissive. Yep. They still know how to run a household. They still give him respect. And ultimately, every man want to feel like they need it. That's just something that's a part of us. It's to feel like you need it. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's an ego thing or ego stroke, but you want to feel like you need it. And they allow the man to feel like that. Back in the day, they didn't have no choice. Go ahead.
I remember telling my sister a couple of years back, she was married to her husband. And they had been married for like maybe a year. They had been together for like 17 years. And I said to her, like, don't allow someone else to build their 401k and you don't build anything. Don't allow someone else to build a pension and you don't build anything. Like my mom could not remarry because she stayed at home and she got my dad's pension. So if she got remarried, she lost his pension. All because she never worked. So she limited her ability and her happiness based off a man. She stayed at home and didn't work. She finally went back to school after we stayed on her about going back to school because she had kids early. She dropped out of school. She got married at a young age. It was all these things that limited her because she gave. And that's the thing. Society has told women that we have to sacrifice everything in our lives, our happiness, our education, our dreams, our goals, all that just to make sure we're submitting to somebody who half time fucking your girl down the street. So you sit here and you're submitting to this man and you're submitting and you're giving and you're having children and you're being a mom all while he's sleeping with Joanne down the street making other babies. And then when he decides to leave you in 5 years, you ain't been married to him long enough to even get his pension. Because it's not happening like that anymore. So the whole 17, 18, 20, 30 years of being married, that ain't happening no more. You're barely making it 5 years. So again, you've married this man. You sacrificed all these years, whether it's 5 or 8. You got to be married to him for over 10 in order to get his pension. So you can't get his pension if you ain't married to him for over 10 years. So it's so many dynamics to it that women, I'm not saying the man can't be the head of the household, because listen, when I tell you whatever woman out here in America want a man to lead her, I'm all for it. Let him lead you. However, don't automatically assume he's the leader just because he's a man. That's all I'm saying. Nothing.
Okay. So that kind of go to my next question I was going to ask you guys. Do you feel that the stay-at-home parent, whether it's being the woman staying at home or the male, actually my CEO, which is a female, CIO, when she joined the company, she said her husband is now stay at home. So, with this whole new school era, things are different. There's no how it used to be, like as the world and as times evolve, things are just different because we're in a new age. Do you guys feel that the stay-at-home parent have equal rights?
I do. Honestly do think that it depends because, again, think about it. Let's say I was in school and my
Mm-hmm.
husband was working
Mm-hmm.
and I went to school to be a doctor. And then
Mm-hmm.
finally I got my doctorate degree at 45. And he wants to stay home and be a parent to our kid now. And he's worked all these years that I pursue my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It's a give and give. That's why I don't really, to me, I can't really say my girlfriend's the head of the house. I just feel like we share. It's a unity thing, it's a unified thing. And I don't think that this is the new era that it's okay for a man to stay home and take care of the children. If he's helped them, again, goes back to pouring in me, making a way for me, providing for me. It's so much more than just monetary that makes you the head of my house.
Marie
So
said, "Appreciate."
I'm like, if a man want to stay home and take care of his children, and if his wife agrees with that, I'm all for that. Now, if the nigga staying at home and he ain't doing nothing,
But
and
slang it.
it's a totally different story.
Hey, but some women, that's all you have to do, right? Q. Hey, that's all. Some women, that's all you have to do. Just slang the D, and that's enough for them. Some women.
I'm gonna be quiet because I don't want to offend nobody. So we just go. We're gonna keep it moving. I see what I'm done.
But no, some people are like that. I think they should be even more respected because a stay-at-home person is that staying at home. You know, when you work, you actually leaving the house. You know, and staying at home, that's a lot. Like me working from home, I love working from home. However, there are times that people say, "Hey, I want to come over and chill." No, let's get out because I'm so tired of being in the house. You know what I mean? Sometimes just being cooped up in the house, that's a lot. People don't understand that. Like working from home has its pros and most definitely has its cons. You literally have to create a life for yourself because guess what? You are now
Yep.
You have like you're not engaged as you will with everyday people. You know, so it's not as easy as people think. But I would say the stay-at-home parent have, if not more rights, because if they have children, people don't understand dealing with kids 24/7. That's a job in itself. Just because you're not punching somebody's clock, dealing with a kid 24/7 is a lot. You got to cook for them. You have to console them. You have to go over do their homework. Whereas the person, they at work, so they're not listening to all of the crying and the hollering and the mommy this or daddy this because they out the household. So I say, yeah, they have most definitely have equal rights, in my opinion.
Q.
I'll say they do.
Okay.
We'll say that because, like you said, now I don't look at nothing as roles. You know what I'm saying? I look at it as, yo, you going to doctorate school or you going to get this degree? All right, cool. I'm gonna sacrifice because we're a team, and I feel like as a team we work together. It ain't about, hey, you got to do this or you got to go get a job. We both got to make sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? But I have to know for a fact that we're working as a team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna be no fool.
Yeah.
And I'm out here, busting my ass and I'm coming home and you watching Netflix.
And like I said, it's more to it though. You know what I'm saying? I totally get that. Totally get it. Yeah.
Hey, so Shay, I have a question.
Yep.
So from a woman's standpoint of it, why do you think a lot of women, how can I put this? And I don't want to offend nobody on live. All right. Why do you think a lot of women will rather go with a guy who slangs good D and have him sit up in the house and chill, rather go with a guy who works hard and be committed and comes home?
Well,
self-esteem.
I can only go off of what I think because I ain't never been that stupid, and I'm gonna put it out there just like that. Never get offended. But I think it's two things: self-esteem, not really understanding the value that they actually have, like what they hold. And then two, I think it's daddy issues. A lot of women who consistently and constantly attract bad men, it's because they never really experienced what a good man was. When a woman has a father, like my dad was a good dad. He was the first man to tell me he loved me. He was the first man to tell me I was pretty. He was the first man to give me a hug. So it was almost the opposite with me. Like, I never craved men because I already had that connection and love with my daddy that I was already in love with a man. I had already seen a man provide. I had already seen how it was to be in the presence of a real man. So I didn't desire that. So when I did try to date men, I was ditching them fast as they came in the door because it wasn't what I wanted. They didn't give me what I wanted. They wasn't providing what I wanted. So women now, when they go out here and they get men, they don't know what it is to be dated. They think having a big butt, big titties, a pretty face, dancing and shaking it on live, him saying, "Hey, baby girl," him walking past you, then turning around and saying, "Hey, baby girl," they think that's funny because they don't really understand what they have because nobody ever taught them. So that's why the D is easier for me to say, I can't leave him because the D's so good. Well, they ain't never really had love. That's all they associate love with.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know no better. And then they just have self-esteem issues. I was at the nail shop Saturday. I think I was talking on the phone to Kevin. And I wanted to take a picture of two girls that came in there. They legs, no lie, was as big as my straps on my purse. No lie. They butt was twice as big as my head. They look like natural walking fools. Like, seriously. It was horrible, the stuff that I saw. And I'm like, why would you alter your body like that? It's so sad that our women are doing this just to be seen and looked at and possibly halfway loved because they never experienced that when they was younger. And this society is completely lost.
Well, I agree and okay, so that I get that, but I kind of agree and disagree because I think just because, and I'm speaking for women and anybody that have like a surgical procedure, I don't think it's necessarily that they do it because they was in love. I think
No, not surgical procedures.
Oh,
I never said all women who had surgical procedures was not love. He said, why do I believe that the women nowadays go with the men for the D versus to
okay. I see. So you think that they doing this thing to attract a certain?
Yes, all of that goes into all of that. No, some people alter their bodies because they just want to. Do you? That's fine with me. But don't alter it to try to get the attention.
Get love. Gotcha.
Yeah,
do it for the right thing. Gotcha. Okay.
You just want your butt bigger. Hey, do it. If you want your breasts smaller or bigger, do it. But don't do it because you're trying to get this man's attention or you trying to get this woman's attention because it's men that alter their bodies. It's not only women that do this.
Yeah.
So do it because this is just something naturally that you say, hey, I really want to do it because this is what I want to do. So.
Okay. Let's go into another topic. What about absentee fathers? Well, both absentee mothers and fathers, but we'll start with the fathers. Whose fault is it? I think not all absentee fathers that are out of their children's lives is because they failed to be parents. I honestly believe that some absentee fathers are out their life because women plays this game that because you hurt me or you did this, now that you've done this, I'm not letting you see your kid. And after fighting the fight, you just eventually say, you know what? Hell, I'll wait till the kid get 18 and I just have to go to her and explain to her, guess what? I made a mistake in a relationship with your mom, and because of that, I wasn't allowed to see you. Um, whose fault is it when it comes to an absentee father? Because you do have some that's just because they failed to be a father. But then you have some of those who want to be a father but can't be a father. I know quite a few situations like that.
I don't believe that there's no such thing as a man can't be a father.
Really?
I don't believe it. Nope. Because there's a law. Because if you took a woman's child and she go down to court and say that Kevin Lowe took my baby, they're gonna come find you. So you can't, a man can't sit and say, well, she said I can't see the kid because I ain't with her. You have to fight for your kid, because ultimately who loses in the end? The baby. So you can't sit around and say, I'm gonna wait till you 18 and tell your mother. Do you know how much you've lost? Do you know what your daughter missed? Do you know what your son missed? Because his daddy said, I'm gonna sit and wait till you get 18. That's BS. No, sorry.
You said, okay. What's your perspective, Q?
I feel like it's two. I feel like it's two because I feel like sometimes you have women who are spiteful towards the father that keeps them away from their kids, and I feel like that goes it goes hand in hand. It ain't some women be like, hey, if you can't be with me, guess what? You're not going to see your kids. If you're going to march to the beat of my drum. And I feel like that's not fair. And the reason why I say that, because when my parents got divorced, I was a mama's boy. So I would always go by what my mom would always say about my father. But then I would never realize, hey, this ain't my situation. This theirs. I was going by my mom's hurt. My father never hurt me. And it made me come to a realization when I lost my father, when he passed away. All that entire time, I could have had this built relationship with him, but I chose not to do it because I was going by what my mom said.
How old were you?
16.
All right, so that's a different story. So I'm talking about if Kevin and I have a kid together and we break up,
yeah,
and my baby is a baby.
Okay.
And I say, I'm not letting you see your son because we not together.
Well, I cheated on you.
Whatever you did. You beat me up. Fine, whatever. So you mean to tell me Kevin can't go down to the child support service, wherever that is, and file for visitation rights?
He can, but how many women in this day and age still, when they go down to the court and do it, and the father does, and I know men to this day who goes and who takes the steps and be like, hey, I'm coming to get my son Friday as the court order, and then when Friday comes, you know where to be found. You don't answer your phone.
So they don't get penalized for that?
I guess now they have an app now to whereas the judge is on the app with like both parents and like the judge see everything. But you have a lot of women now who are so upset with men by not wanting to be with them or they've been hurt to whereas, first thing they're going to say is I'm not about to have my child around another woman.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they could do that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I've seen it in a lot of cases whereas the judge will tell a mother like, hey, you got one more time to not let this man see his children, and then we're going to turn over custody. It happens this day and age, so we can't just blame men because you do have some men out here who do take the steps of, hey, I want to see my children, but you have women that's like, hey, no, guess what? You ain't paid your child support, so you can't see my child. My child does not have a price tag on it. My child has my blood running through his veins.
I never knew that women could. I knew that there were spiteful women, obviously, but I never knew that the law allowed the father not to see the child, even if he was granted visitation rights. I never heard of that before.
But no, I'm not saying it's not the law. What I'm saying is, a man could always go down and say, hey, file for visitation. Even with the visitation set in place, the mom will still do things to make the father not see his kids.
Yeah, because I know a personal situation that happened in the family, and I know
that's that. Also, read the comment Dave said.
So if she doesn't cooperate, go back to court.
That's what I'm saying.
But okay,
ain't nobody gonna keep me away from what's mine. Like I
agree. But
I'm gonna fight for it.
But sometimes don't you stop fighting though?
You don't
You,
stop fighting for your children.
I know, but
But
sometimes
why?
you get to a point
So what? Here's the question.
and
So
things are being said that you doing maliciously, and it's not. And at that point, you just throw your hands up and say, you know what, the hell with it. I
agree.
agree what
But
Dave said though.
I agree what he says too. But and again, why should I? You know, like you said, like Shay said, why you don't stop fighting? But why should I have to fight you?
You shouldn't. You
Why
shouldn't.
you to be like, hey, where's my son? Or let's go here. I'm calling to say, hey, let me speak to my son. Oh, he ain't available. Who that hoe you was with the other day? This ain't got nothing to do with this. Where's my son?
So I was watching this show on Netflix, and I swear, once I get off the show, I'm gonna pin it to the thread. It was a lady who had a daughter, and her husband was beating her up, and she left the daughter with the dad because she was trying to get custody of the, like, split custody. Long story short, she said she was going through so much with the courts and him that she stopped. Well, to move forward, they was telling the story. The daughter was molested by the dad, and eventually the daddy killed the daughter. And it got to a point where she blamed herself because she said, if I had only kept fighting, then my daughter would still be alive. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that the lady's right. She's absolutely wrong for using her child as a pawn.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want your child, you're going to do whatever it is in this world to make sure that you get your baby. And that's just me. It's nobody that can keep me away from my baby. Nobody. I'm going to fight till I'm dead for mine. So, I mean, maybe guys are cut a little different. I don't know.
I think guys are cut different because the court favor the woman before they favor the man.
I agree. That's why they call friends of the court, because they are women's friends. Let's say enemy of the court. You got the friends of the court and enemy of the court. Friends of the court favor the women, and enemy of the court favor, because, and I understand, because predominantly most women don't leave their children. When a woman leave their children, it's so many different mechanisms that happen for, I think, a woman, because women are natural nurturers, regardless if a man is not. They're going to protect their kids. They're going to protect their offspring. They're going to do whatever they can to protect their kids. Look at pets. Female pets is going to protect their babies regardless to what. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I do feel like it's different, because whereas men can just jump ship, women can't. I'm not going to say some women, because, I want to say that some women can or can't, but predominantly most of the time you see the woman who stays and the father leaves. I do know there are just some deadbeat dads, but then again, you have those dads where the mom has taken her frustration and anger out, and the way to get to the man is to hurt something that's close and deep to him, and it's nothing more closer than your offspring, your child. And they know that, and so they lead with that. Well, if you want to see your baby, what do you love me? What about us? And you be like, that's over. But I do want to make sure that I'm co-parenting with you. And I feel like some women, they give you ultimatums. If you're not co-parenting with them or want to be with them, it's either all or nothing. Either it's us as a whole,
yeah,
or it's not no co-parenting.
But it's funny.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done.
But I also believe in too that we have to be mindful of what we put in our kids' minds, because a lot of times when we look at our kids, we see that the person that we break up with in our kids. So therefore, when we have conversation with our kids and we get upset, the first thing we say is, "Your daddy ain't shit. Your daddy ain't never been shit. Your daddy hurt me. I don't want you to grow up to be shit like your daddy." So then when it comes time for the daddy to pick up the kids, guess what? The kids don't want to go, because they go by what the mom has put in their mind. Mm-hmm. And their mindset is basically like, why would I want to go with somebody that my mom portrayed to be a bad person? They may be a bad person to you, because guess what we had may not have worked. But don't instill what we had and our hurt into our kids, because they ain't got nothing to do with it.
Dave said fathers have rights, can't make excuses. You no longer have to deal with the woman, go through the courts. I agree with that.
That's how I feel. I mean, I'm not gonna badger it and keep beating and messing up, but I feel like Just like if you want this job, just like if you want a house, just like you want to survive as a man, just like you want to have fun, whatever it is or whatever it may be, you fight for what it is. And your child automatically should be that number one thing that you fight for. There should never be, and I'm talking about children. So I'm not talking about 15, 16, 17-year-olds, because at this point, once they get of that type of age, they kind of develop their own mind. And then at that point, you can say, you know what? I'm going to talk to you when you get older and where you can understand, because like he said, Quentin chose not to go with his dad at 16. Well, that was something that was over time that you had heard, you had continuously heard. So by the time he got 16, he was like, I'm not messing with my daddy. But at the end of the day, I'm not talking about that age. I'm talking about rockabye babies, those babies. At the end of the day, you as a man, if you a fighter and a protector, the first person that you should be protecting is your kid if you're not married. So I don't know how a person can.
What percentage of women do you think have that mindset versus the percentage of women who are saying, like Kev said, oh, if you don't want to be with me, you can't see your kids?
Because so many women out here are bitter, and I get it. I don't think, and I'm not saying that all women, but I think a lot of women don't know how to separate personal issues that you have, and to separate the issues that what you did to me and my child. They correlate all of it together.
I don't think men know how to separate when you make a child and you in a relationship, to stop cheating and being a dog, and then making a woman bitter because of the decisions that you've made to not be a man and be committed to the relationship that you in. So she ain't just going crazy all of a sudden. Every action has a reaction.
Yeah.
So you can't say we're natural. We're emotion. We have emotions. We're emotional creatures, a man and a woman. Just like if a woman goes to a man and tell a man that she slept with another man, he go ballistic. He loses it. He don't want to be with her no more. She a hoe. You a dirty dog. She's all these things. But again, let's talk about the reason we led up to this woman being bitter. Why is she bitter? I know that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day.
No, she's bitter. She's bitter for many reasons. However, you have to, and it's easily said than done.
It is. Thank you for saying that.
It is easily said than done, because it's hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
And so what way to cut you deeper than, unfortunately, the kid is the casualty of war in the situation.
Yes.
The kid actually becomes the pawn in the situation, because now you have a hurt person that want to hurt deep.
Yes.
And you can't cut deeper than taking or having that child be an interference in what you're going through. I can sit up and say, yes, easy. Okay, the man cheated on you, left you, and then you still meeting up with him and taking the kid. No, that's, so I'm not going to, I don't want to be biased because I'm a male, but I understand. And I even though I don't think it's right, I think it's the wrong behavior to exhibit. I understand why they feel like that. You've been hurt,
but I feel like we lost. I feel like in this day and age, we lost respect and dynamics. I feel like, at any point in time too, as parents too, that when we date somebody, we don't respect the other parent enough to say, hey, I'm dating somebody, this is serious, this is who my kid is going to be around, versus just bringing somebody around the kid. So of course, as a mother, her nature is to protect her child before anything.
So going back to the bitter woman, right? So you can't ask me, I have a kid by you, my baby's 4 months, we break up because you've been cheating, and then you all of a sudden want to come pick my kid up the week after you break up with me with Shirley Ann in the car. Like, we got to use common sense, people. Like, of course she's not going to want her kid to go with a random woman that she doesn't know that you've been sleeping with, So my thing is, we have to make sure that we're being fair when we're saying she's bitter, and it's so many different levels to the bitterness. It's
No, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because just like you said that you guys don't want, Shirley Ann around your kids, but as fathers, we're concerned about Dave around our daughters.
Exactly.
well, you wouldn't be concerned about Dave around your daughter if you weren't sleeping with Shirley Ann, which caused us to break up in the first place.
But see, now
Okay,
you're bitter.
so let's keep it real here.
But now you done moved Dave. You done moved Dave into your house, and now I
Right.
got to worry about a man around.
Now I got to
my
worry
daughter
about Dave touching my kid.
touching my daughter. And the reason why I say that because
that's
so
22.
the reason why I say that because when
Hey,
I
what's
was
up,
working,
Auntie?
when I was working in the trauma department, and I seen so many young girls come in getting a test done by being touched by men, and the mothers aren't really like the first thing a mom will say, "Oh, that ain't true. That ain't what happened." So it goes to.
I hear your fan, Kevin.
The fan is off.
Oh, okay.
That's cute. It's cute. Cute do it. Cute in the
So
surgical room.
I feel like it goes two ways because I
Okay.
feel like, of course, as both parents, their well-being of their children means a lot. And I never like to see young girls come in and the mom is just sitting there and we got to do like a rape kit test. And the mom
Yeah.
is just sitting there like she cares nothing about it. Like, I know he ain't doing it. You lying.
Because
I've
she loved
seen
that
it.
man. She put all her
Because
energy
she
in that
loves it.
man.
Because she loves him. And now
Yeah.
he trumps. Now
Yeah.
he trumps that kid.
That happens. That happens a
Your
lot.
kid should be your everything. You
Yeah.
are the protector of your child.
So
Your
go
child
You
can't
heard what you
up
just
and
said?
leave.
You just
Huh?
heard what you said?
Which one?
Say it again. Your kid should be everything. You are the protector
Of
of
your
your
child.
child.
Yes.
So the man that keeps saying he gonna wait till the kid get 18 because the mama won't let him come see his kid, that's the same situation.
I
You
disagree with
are
that. I
the
agree with you. Yeah, because
So you
I'm
better fight for it.
if I had a kid, there's no way possible if the relationship didn't work out that I personally wouldn't do everything
That's it.
that I'm going jumping over hoops because I know I didn't have a dad, unfortunately. My dad wasn't around. So I know how that personally feels. So there's nobody's going to keep me away from my kid. Nobody. If I have to go in debt for attorney fees, I want my kid to know I did everything that I
That's
could
all I'm
possibly
saying.
do
Yes.
to fight for what's for you.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people just give up too easily.
Yes. Thank you.
The dynamic of the Black family is don't fight. Okay, you say I can't see it. Okay, guess what? I'm about to go down and go meet Mary Sue.
And have 4 more kids.
Yep. And then guess what? I'm not gonna use Dave's name because I want to keep singling him out. But when Mike, but then here it is, Mike, and if your name Mike, we're not singling you out. We just, here it is. You go and move and meet somebody, and then when Mike might get of age, he's like, hey, he's bitter. He's bitter for a lot of reasons. One, you wasn't around, and two, the mom poison. You poison the mind of the kid too. He ain't S. He never was S. He don't love you. So now you growing up with that, and I think just because you guys don't work in a relationship, you have to be careful what you say around kids, especially about their parent. I don't like when parents talk bad about their ex around their children, knowing that that's their parent, because even though you don't feel that way, this woman, this girl, this boy's dad or mom. And I think you have to be careful what you say because you poison the mind of the child. So what is that one misconception of the dynamic of a black family that you can think of? I think for me, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
That all women are on section. What is that? Food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
Government.
You think that's a misconception?
I think that is a huge misconception that all of us are undereducated and that we're on food stamps. And I'm like, when I tell you, I've seen more Caucasian people come in the hospital with Medicare. What is that? Medicaid.
Mm-hmm. Medicaid and Care Source.
Yeah, I see more of them come in than any other race. But it's the perception that we are getting all these food stamps and having babies, and that's not true. It's just not true.
Mm-hmm. What is that one misconception of the dynamic of the family for you, Q?
Um, that we can't stay together as a black family
Why do you think that that's a misconception?
because I think we can. It's just all about what people see from the outside versus what's on the inside.
Mhm. Dave said all black homes are missing the father.
Yep.
And so and I'm probably gonna go deep and probably too deep, so we can say this, but I'm gonna go deep enough. From the beginning, and I've always said, I believe Section 8 enables people. Hey, if we give them a little, we can stagnate them. We can make them feel we can do this so that they don't have any ambition and any dreams. The reason why the black homes are missing the fathers is because if you go back to the slavery days, the man was taken from the family, which why you have the strong black woman, because the fathers wasn't that they didn't want to be there, they was taken from the home. And so as generations go, generations, women become independent. You know what I mean? They gonna do what they have to do to keep the family going.
I want to say it was in the 60s or in the 50s when they all migrated north. Chicago started the redlining, and it's a show on, I want to say, Netflix or Amazon One,
Hmm.
where the black homes could not get subsidized food stamps or money or whatever,
Uh-huh.
unless the home didn't have a man in it. So a
Yeah,
lot
yeah, yeah.
of women left the homes so that the women could get food stamps and assistance and help.
Yeah,
So it
for sure.
definitely was set up that way, but I don't want us to use that as a crutch
That's a
in
crutch.
today's society to believe that we have to continue to live that way.
All right, so we got a comment from Truth Bull. He said, "Hello,
Mikey
Mike and
Ginger.
Ginger." He said, "Is a black woman being on food stamps in Section 8 a misconception the world has on a perception we as black people give by posting the gifts and memes that paint the picture?" Absolutely, I think all of those are things that perpetuate black people. You know what I mean? How many times are we depicted in a movie for living in the house on the hill with a pet and a perfect family? How many commercials do you see that have the man and the woman and the kids there? Not a lot. We perpetuate it in a way, whereas there are only single household, which is not, not true. Like my grandfather, grandmother, he was there and he was a provider and stuff like that. Like I know a lot of people in the family, even with my sister. I mean, she's divorced now, but my nephew was raised with his mother and father. You know what I mean? So there are, I
I was
just
raised
think,
with my mother and father.
yeah, Q was raised with his mother and father, right? And so it's a misconception. It's how the media perpetuate things to be, and how do we break this? How do we break the misconceptions? And thank you, True Bo, for that. That was a great question. How do we break that? Michael said, I want to say the system is not set up for fathers. It's a long process for fathers to get their child or children. The system against fathers. I also said that. I said we have the friends of the court and enemies of the court. um, uh, Dave said, was there a movie that displayed the back in the day called Pauline or something like that? I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know if that was the name of the movie. I can't quite remember. I'm gonna
I
look
never
it
heard of
up.
that.
Yeah, but it was a really good movie, and I mean, it went into detail about. I don't know if Dave is talking about the Chicago redlining. It may be called Chicago
Pauline.
redlining.
I'm about to
So
write that
I'm not
down, Dave, and do
100%
some research
sure.
on it.
Yeah.
Pauline. Um, Another comment, Mike said. He said the misconception of the black family is that all black homes don't have fathers. that is far from the truth. That's why that's what they want the society to believe.
Yes. Now we do have a lot of families where, not all, but we have a lot of families where there are single parent
Oh yeah,
homes.
for sure, for
But
sure.
I think that that is hell. I mean, two of the ladies in my HR or in my, where I work at possibly, was talking to me about, just raising their kids and the different things that they had to go through. So it's different. It I think it depends on who you're talking to. And society has put those numbers out there that may not necessarily be 100% true, because like you said, they want us to believe that we're suffering. Oh, he said yes, he was speaking on that. Yeah, I think it was called Chicago redlining or something like that.
I'm gonna pull that.
I'm not 100% sure though. I'll have to look it up.
But even now, though, even now, when they give you Section 8, they say, okay, you have to say, okay, Shay living here with her 2 kids. If you're not on that lease, you're not supposed to be there.
Yep.
It's the same. It's the same way to say, hey, we giving you these benefits, then you better not have a man in the home. But at what point do you stand up and say, you know what, this no, I'm not going through this. We gonna do the right thing. We're gonna be a family unit, and we're gonna move forward. Um, Let me ask you this also about the dynamic of the black family, and this might be a long, and so we might have to cut it. Why is it that they be in a relationship for 10, we'll say 5, 10, 15 years, but when you talk about marriage, they don't want to marry? Why is that people so afraid of the M word? Why? They okay going in relationships 5 and 10, 15 years, but the minute you say marriage, it's like, oh, baby, why would you mess up something? We've been together all these years. Why are you trying to mess up something, baby? It's like, why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. I think partially it's because of what they've seen, maybe. They've seen failed marriages and it scares them. Where they feel like if I get married, it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh, he said Claudine is the movie.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna pull that up. I'm gonna watch that.
yeah. It was really good. If that was the movie, that was really, really good. I saw it. But yeah, I think that's what it is, honestly. I don't know though, but I can only guess.
Why you think that, Q?
I think everything that comes with it, honestly. I remember growing up, and I don't care if my family watching, but I remember growing up, and I've seen, like, I come from like a family where, a deep Christian rooted family where, you know we had to walk on eggshells just based on our family name. But I seen my uncles legit, married to my aunts. My aunts were strong working women, but yet I still see them like at different family functions. My aunts didn't come there bringing different women. And I promised myself growing up, I said, I never wanted, I don't know, I can't invest into something for so many years and then someone else reaps the benefits. So it's all about, for me, I think it's trust for me. I think it's just trust. Like, I need to know for a fact, like, hey, we're in it to win it. Because I don't believe in divorce. But if I feel like you want some trash, of course, I'm just not about to be married just to say I got a ring on the finger. Because the ceremony is nothing but a day. And as you can see, some divorces could be so messy. It's like, a divorce is like, I get you for everything that you got.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull that movie. I'm gonna actually search the web for that movie and watch it to watch, because I think I remember, because I think James Earl Ray, the man for Coming to America, was in that. I think I vaguely remember that, but I don't remember. I'm gonna watch that movie. I think oftentimes too, um, being, we're a resilient race, and I think a lot of times we are afraid of the unknown, and oftentimes we can't see past what's in our face. And I think because of that, like you said, we look and see, okay, my uncle had a failed marriage, my mom had a failed marriage, my dad, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard for you to commit, because you like, well, why would I mess up a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't know is that when the person you've been with of 20 years, you get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get pension.
Yep.
You don't get them, even though y'all together 20 years, you don't get to make decisions. Then it goes to the next of kin.
Yep.
You don't get to, I mean, no, you literally don't have a right. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they cut off common law marriage. There used to be a thing, common law. I don't even think common law exists. Don't quote me on that, guys. I would get that information.
And if it does exist, I think you would really have to show some documentation that you guys share, like a bank account from 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it works or not.
Yeah.
But I think marriage is a big deal.
Mhm.
I was just talking to my girlfriend about that because, like you said, my biggest fear is that something happens and I don't get to do anything that involves her. And it's just a protection, for me. I love her, obviously, but I want to make sure that we're both protected on both ends and our investments are protected. So it's a bigger picture, but I also think I don't necessarily want to say people are afraid of commitment. I honestly think people just are afraid that at the end of the day it's gonna fail or it's gonna come to an end or getting married somehow activates that. Okay, once you get married, it's like this activation that comes through.
It's like, if it's not broke, why would we fix it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this actually concludes the end of the show. Wow, that went fast. Again, we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in with us every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. We can't do this, and I want to say thank you to my panel, because this is episode 30. You guys don't know, like, we literally put our heads together to see what type of content we can bring to you guys, just to make sure that it's an interactive conversation. I am a conversationalist, and one of the things that I did before I started this, like when I have game night at home, I used to have people write what they want to talk about, put something in a bag. We shake the bag up, and we'll each pull out whatever somebody wrote down, and we'll talk about it, because I believe in conversating helps. Communication helps things. We can't. One of the biggest misconceptions is sweeping things under the rug. It's no longer time. It's time out for sweeping stuff under the rug.
Say it for the people in the back.
It's time out for sweeping stuff under the rug. We have to hit the nail on the head. We can't disguise things. We have to talk about it. Good, bad, and different and uncomfortable. You have to talk about situations. That's how things get better, by talking about it.
Yep.
And so I appreciate you guys, and we desperately try to bring and talk about things that's going to change the minds of people, to have people thinking it and to get people engaged. So I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys for that. As always, we like to leave you guys with something. And so, First Lady, take us away. What is something you want to leave the people with?
I found I got this quote off one of my apps today.
Okay.
It says the only thing standing between you and your goal is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it. So don't listen to the bullshit story. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
Yes, and don't let your mind stop you from doing you. I think the foolish things is something that you don't try.
Mm-hmm.
If you fail at it, it's okay. But the biggest failure is something that you don't try. So I want to leave you guys with that. Take us away, Q.
I think my last thing will honestly be great, be dope, and live in the moment.
Hey, I like that. Y'all heard what we said. We want to say thank you guys. Next week, we're not gonna do a show next week, so we're gonna pick up the week after. So I want to thank you guys, and I'm telling you. And guess what? Merchandise is coming. T-shirts, hats, and mugs with the Bearded Man Chronicle logo. All of you guys will have it. It will be up on the internet for purchase. True Bowl said, "Great show, Mike Ginger and Arnez." Hey, at least he was listening. That brother was listening. He was listening for sure. So when you see me out, say, "Hey, what's up, Mike?" I love you guys.
Ginger, and I'm be like, "What the hell?"
My new name is
right. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you from 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after that. We love you guys. Happy Labor Day to you guys,
Yes,
and
be
enjoy
safe.
yourself and be safe. Peace.
Yep.
We out.
Bye.